Hi, this is a video for my AP College Biology students so that they can understand how to analyze the data from the first experiment we did in class, reaction times of right and left hands, using Excel spreadsheet. So first, you need to download the spreadsheet data. So go to PowerSchool and go to the AP College Biology A page. And then in the lab tab, it will come up with the lab page and have reaction time combined classes data. So click on that and it will download. Once you've downloaded the data, open it up. You can save that. Okay, so here is the data. Notice at the bottom it shows period 1 tab and period 2 tab. So we have two different classes, so select your appropriate class. In class we entered all of our data for right hand and left hands in the distances that we dropped the rulers in millimeters. So now we need to convert those distances to meters and then use the formula that I gave on the lab handout to calculate the reaction time. So to do a conversion from millimeters to meters using Excel, we're going to click in a cell that says right hand distance in meters. So click on the top cell, and then if you put an equal sign, that'll tell the computer that we're going to do a formula. And now we want to say we'll take the distance in millimeters, so we're going to click on that cell B5, and then that tells us we want to use that distance. And then to convert millimeters to meters, remember that there's 1,000 millimeters in every meter, so if we divide by 1,000, we'll have it in meters. And then hit enter, and we've got that. Now if you click again on that cell, and then the little green square at the bottom right corner of that cell, if you click and hold that with your mouse, then drag it to the right, it will copy that formula over for the left hand. But notice up here in the cell contents box, it shows that it used, if you click on that, see how it uses C5 instead of B5. So the computer kind of assumed you meant move over one more column. Okay, now if you click and hold on both cells so that it highlights both, then click and hold and drag that green square all the way to the bottom, and we have copied that formula, those formulas down for the entire column. So we have everybody's distances in meters. Now go up and we're going to enter the formula for the reaction time. Now we want this time in milliseconds. The formula that I gave you on the handout was in seconds, so we'll fix that. First, put an equal sign saying we're going to do a formula. Then the formula was for the square root, so go up here to the function button, insert a function, and we can type in square root to the search bar, hit enter, and it comes up, there it is, square root is SQRT, so we'll hit OK. Now it says, well, what number do you want to take the square root of? I'm just going to hit OK. It's going to have a question there, but it puts our formula in the cell. Now click inside the parentheses, and we enter the rest of our formula. So for the reaction time, it's going to be the square root of 2 times the distance, and we're going to click on this cell D5 for the distance, and then we divide that by gravity, the acceleration due to gravity, which is 9.80665 meters per second squared. So we're going to put that number in there. That number, if we hit enter, is in 0 because it's less than 1 second. This is still in seconds. So go up here to the formula that's in the bar up here, tells us what formula we're using, and realize that's in seconds. So if we times that by 1,000, because there's 1,000 milliseconds in every second, then our answer will be in milliseconds. So hit enter again, and now we have that time in milliseconds. Again, if you click on that cell, click and hold the green square, drag it over, now we have our left hand time. Click and hold the green square again and drag all the way down, and we have all of our reaction times in milliseconds. Next, we want to compute the average. So click on this cell underneath the right hand time in milliseconds column. And now we need to tell the computer we want the average. So again, click on the formula or the function button. Tell it, you can type average, or if it shows up in the list, and there it is. So I'll just hit that button and it will say, well, what numbers do you want to take the average of? Now, because I was already at the bottom of that column, it assumed I wanted that column of data, so it's already got F5 to F172, so that's the numbers I want. I can hit OK. Now I can again copy that formula by clicking and dragging over, and I got my right hand and left hand reaction times, averages. Now to do the standard deviation, same thing, click on the function button, type in standard deviation. And notice there's several different kinds of standard deviations. There's slightly different formulas depending on how you do it. We're going to pick the first one, STDEV, so I'm going to hit OK. It's going to ask, okay, which numbers do you want to take the standard deviation of? And if you remember, the standard deviation is a measurement of how spread out from the average everything is. So we need a set of numbers that we can measure compared to the average, how spread out they all are. So it's asking us, well, what range of numbers do you want? Now, because I was at the bottom of the column, it again assumed I wanted the whole column, but notice it has F5 to F173. I don't want to include 173 because that is my average. So I'm going to click there, hit the backspace, and then make that 172 instead. Then hit enter or OK, and it computes my standard deviation. Now I'm going to click and drag that formula over to the left, and I have the left-hand standard deviation.